ancient wisdom, some modern business, and how we can apply that ancient wisdom even today. So I'm very delighted to be here with everyone today. And I'm very delighted to be here in the presence of the Murti of His Divine Grace, Srila Abhay Charanarvanda, Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Srila Prabhupada came to America in 1965. He landed in New York City after traveling 40 days across the Atlantic Ocean on a steamship. And he arrived in 1965 and I was born in 1965, same place in New York City. So I feel very blessed. And without his presence, I would definitely not be here today. So very, very grateful. So there's some questions. First of all, very important question. Who is here for the first time today? Yes, welcome. Suswagatam. Thank you for coming. And anyone here works a job? Anyone works jobs? Yes? Okay, you're job workers. And anyone runs their own business? Entrepreneurs here? Yes, quite a few entrepreneurs. Very good. And I'd like to express my gratitude also to His Grace, Rajiv Prabhu, Ranagiri Dari Prabhu, for inviting me for this wonderful festival. We've been planning this for years, finally. Krishna ki kripa. Anyone here supporting their family? Families getting supported? Yes. Thank you very much. And it's very interesting to know that people are studying, they're working, they're going to school, they're running their businesses, they're doing so many activities. And we all want to earn money for a promising future. Do you all agree? Yes, absolutely. So when we have money, people will ask us, how are you? But if we don't have money, people will ask us, who are you? Same WHO, but arranged differently, a different effect. So let's take a look at money for a minute. Same money, but different effect. Same yet different. Money in temple, church, or charity is called a donation. And just a question for all of you. Which is the best nation? The donation. So, very good. Similarly, money, if you give it in the school, it's called a fee. If you give it in a wedding, it's called dowry. If you give it in a divorce, it's called alimony. If you owe money to someone, it's called a debt. And if you pay the money to the government, tax. And if you pay it in court, it's a fine. And if you receive the money after retirement, it's a pension. And if an employer gives money to a worker, it's called salary. Children receiving money is called pocket money, or when I was growing up, it was allowance. I got 25 paisa. Later I got a raise. I got up to 75 paisa. If you borrow it from a bank, it's called a loan. If you give it after good service, it's called tip. And if you pay it to a kidnapper, it's called a ransom. A big sum of ransom. An illegal payment for service is called bribe. And when used to share and serve others, it's called happiness. Money will actually bring happiness when we use it to serve and help others. So nothing wrong with we possess money. Money can be used for a good thing. But we should not let money possess us. The real value is when the money is transferred into happiness through service. There was an old man and his wife. And the old man told his wife, when I die, I want you to go to the bank, take out all of my money, put it in an envelope, and bury my money with me. And she was very confused. She did not know what to do. So some of her friends said, you should follow your husband's instructions. And other friends said, no, don't do it. How you will survive? So the day came of his passing. He was in the box. So the wife faced a very difficult decision. They were just about to close the box. It was a funeral. Everyone was crying around. And the lady, she ran out with a big paper envelope and put it in the box. And then they buried the box in the ground. And afterwards, her friend said, what did you do? What did you do? So the lady said, well, I went to the bank. I got a check. If he can cash it, he can spend it. So of course we can't take it with us. You know, we gain funds, whatever we collect in this world. We cannot take it with us into the next world. In Egypt, there were the pharaohs. They built those big pyramids. And they had, when they would die, they would have all their wealth put in the pyramids with them. But it's of no use in the next lifetime. So yes, she took out the check. She spent it. Srila Prabhupada tells a joke. He says, one man asked another man, are you intelligent? The man put his hands in his pockets. And the other man said, why are you putting your hands in your pockets? And the man said, I'm trying to see if I have any money. If I have money, I know I'm intelligent. So people think that money is a sign of intelligence. Some people are so poor that all they have is money. So the Beatles, very influential music group, influenced me. They said, I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. So money can be used very helpfully for service, but also there's more to life than money. So if we just have money, we may be spending it on eating, which animals are also doing. Yeah. Animals eat, and people also eat. Animals sleep. Some people pay big money for a soft bed. Some people pay big money for sleeping pills also. Human beings also sleep. Human beings mate. Animals mate. And animals defend. And humans also defend. So there's an interesting verse in Bhagavad Gita I want to share with you. This is from 2nd chapter, text 13. Dinos minyatane komaram yovanam jaram tathavihanto praktiya dhirastaptranamuyati. The Atma, the soul in the body, is passing from boyhood to youth to old age, and then passes into another body at the time of death. So life is short. We're passing from one body to the next body to the next. So you are all influential leaders, and we should be involved in ethical leadership. Today's the era of innovation. We have AI, speed, efficiency, tremendous capacity, capability, profit, but very little innovation today focuses on consciousness. So we want to have spiritual innovation, an innovation of consciousness. That we don't just gain funds to try to build our profit margins and build our businesses, but we want to utilize those funds as an offering to society. We want to utilize those funds with a purpose, with responsibility, with integrity, and compassion. So this is called spiritual innovation. Innovating outside, evolving inside, and creating a better world. That's nice. Innovating outside, evolving inside, and creating a better world. Through conscious leadership, compassion and action, driven by values, through community and connection, and sustainable impact. Otherwise, vision without action, it's just a daydream. We need to actually take action. And action without vision can create a nightmare. A friend of mine tells a story. He left his body recently, Maharaj Swami. Imagine you have a bucket of water. You put your hand in the water. What happens to the level of water in the bucket? The water goes up. And then what happens when you take your hand out of the water? The water goes down again. So we should not live our lives like this. We come here, the water goes up a little bit, we leave, the water goes down. Let's make a sustainable impact in a positive way on the world. Let's do something heroic. We can be heroes to do something to benefit the world. So this spiritual knowledge of Bhagavad Gita will give us that opportunity. This is the most important verse I wanted to share with all of you this evening. Bhagavad Gita 5:18. Please chant with me. Vidyavanaya Sampane Brahmane Gavi Hastini Sulichaiva Sapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, they see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. And this is Samadarshana. They see a Brahmana, they see a cow, cow is coming. They see an elephant. I'll do my cow sound. They see a dog. I think my battery is going. Who can you dance next slide, please? Prove the advance, Kripaya advance card. So we see the Brahmana, the cow, the dog eater. We see the Atma inside every personality. This is called Samadarshana. So we should see the whole world as, and here's the dog, and there's the dog eater. Okay, good. So he sees the whole world as Tattva Darshana. Okay, let's go to the quote. There's a quote coming up. Advance, 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 advance. If you are beautiful, it's God's gift to you. If you live your life beautifully, it's your gift to God. It's a very nice quote. We can all try to take it on board so that we can live our life in such a way that God is very happy with us. So Yam Karoshi means whatever we do, we should offer it. We should offer it. Whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we offer, whatever we give away in charity, whatever austerities we do, we should do that as an offering to Krishna, Krishna says. So, I want to see, I wrote one song on the flight today. I want to see if it's made it onto the presentation. I have it in my laptop. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah. Yes.
Written on Qantas. It's called Spiritual Innovation. Spiritual innovation. Spiritual vacation. Take a break from greed and money. Taste the sweetest fruit and honey. Connect to our roots and utilize our fruits to serve God and humanity and overcome our vanity. Seeing all as family, avoiding the calamity. Spiritual innovation, spiritual vacation. Take a break from greed and money, taste the sweetest fruit and honey. Consciousness, intention, and inner alignment. All this requires spiritual refinement. The family that prays together stays together, seeking joy, authenticity, warmth, meaning, and simplicity. Don't give up your work, use your work to serve. In service you will own a happy, healthy home. Don't give up your work, use your work to serve.
To serve.
In service you will own.
In service you
A happy, healthy home.
Happy, healthy home.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
For a wonderful and enlightening discourse. I mean, I was very, very amazed by the poem which you sang to Maharaj. It is so heartfelt and so nourishing. And it's simple, but then it's something which we can all resonate to. Very, very grateful, Maharaj, that the way you got that sense that you can keep going after the greed, going after the money, but it's not going to bring us happiness. They say that all you will be left with is just the money. Thank you so much, Maharaj, and the way you went through so many fundamental points and brought up this point that why we work for what we want, why do we do what we do. So we'll go to the next part of the program. We have amongst us His Grace Amit Gupta Prabhu. And Amit Gupta is not a stranger to the Artha Forum. Before I start talking about Amit, I was just reading his acknowledgement for one of the awards which he received for lifetime contribution to the entrepreneur. And he was giving the credit to his parents. Now I didn't know, Amit, that your Amit's father is an honorary doctor who operated President of India. He was overseas, but he came back to India and served the nation. His mother was the first PhD anesthetist in the whole India. So his mother pioneered the generation, I would say. He comes from a very, I would say not the affluent, but very highly educated and highly honored family. But he himself is very, humble. When you see, I've been interacting with him for some time now, and we all know TiE, right? Now, I mean, to get a spot in TiE is like a privilege, right? Now, Amit has been the chairman of Global TiE, not just the TiE for Singapore or TiE for India. So he has been a global chairman. He was a trustee there. He is a serial entrepreneur. He actually runs a group of companies even now. But I say that all that is aside, he's a person who is pretty simple, pretty humble. I was just sharing with him that for this presentation, he wanted to prep for it. He could be very impromptu. He could be very quick. But he decided to make sure that he makes the best use of Maharaj's time. So we spent half an hour yesterday, or before yesterday, discussing. Then he took some more time on his own to prepare a set of notes, a set of agenda which he wants to go through. So that shows that even though being so exalted and being a high achiever, he still follows the basics. Values people time. He's very humble, very simple, very accessible. Very grateful.
I'll take my own chair.
So the next part of the section is that we'll have Amit and Maharaj having a fireside chat. There'll be a set of questions which Amit has, which are very enlightening questions. He wants to go through them, very enlightening, I believe. I mean, I've seen some of them, but there are a lot of impromptu questions which we're going to have now. And then we'll also open it up for the audience here to ask any of their questions. Now it could be related to the topic, it could be about your personal challenges, it could be about AI, it could be about anything. So and there are a lot of topics which we all are inquisitive, and it's very hard to get time of the holiness, Maharaj, and also Amit, who is such a successful entrepreneur. I'll hand over the floor to Amit.
Brother Mesh, thank you so much for that very overly generous introduction. I was half expecting someone else to walk in and take over my spot. But no, oh yes. So absolutely privileged to have this conversation again. We have very fond memories of starting the new year at the Ecosystem village with you. I remember very fondly the prasad you gave us. Actually, they were very tasty. So I will come to the temple and try them again. But you know, yesterday we had a call, and you know, I had made some, well, not notes like this. This was after the call, but I had made my points. And I was just sharing with my team today. I said, you know, I'm a spiritual person, but I was half wondering whether it was divine intervention, why there was a cyber attack, but you actually had everything that I was thinking, you were already saying. It was like literally you were reading my mind. And I think that is the divine intervention that I guess comes with that spirituality. And
You know, I think it's that we had this deep heart-to-heart discussion yesterday.
Yes.
And we had a meeting of hearts, and what I was expressing today was to share based on what we discussed yesterday.
Absolutely. And with a lot of pride today in my office, I actually found a video you had sent me on WhatsApp, and I'm sharing it with them. And I said, well, this is what I'm going for today. So thank you, Rajiv, and Manish and Umesh for having me for this. It was such a privilege. I feel like I get all the blessings that I walk away with. So,
Ashirwad.
thank you. So, spiritual innovation. You used that term yesterday. I think you put it into pictures today. I think much clearer. I think we will probably unpack that a little bit today. But I want to start with your personal journey. You came from a very privileged background in a city that a lot of people, especially then, I mean, it may have changed a little bit now, but in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, everyone wanted to be in New York, right? When you were growing up, you saw Sesame Street, you were like, we want to be on that street, right? Even when you were kids. That's right. And of course, you had the musical talent, the gift. What took you away from that? What was the calling that made you pursue this path?
Even from a young age, somehow Krishna connected me. It was like he was kind of drawing me closer and closer to him. When I was 12 years old, I was part of a Broadway musical children's production called Hair. Now I don't have any hair. In those days I had a lot of hair. And the last scene of Hair, the actors come out dressed like Hare Krishnas. Have you seen it? Anyone seen Hair? They made a movie also. So the actors come out dressed like Hare Krishnas, and they put stockings over their heads so they look like they're bald with shaved heads. And they sing this Hare Krishna song. So I was the guitar player in a pit orchestra. Many musicians were there, and the orchestral director, he turned to us and he turned to me, he said, we need someone to sing this Hare Krishna song. You, guitar player, can you sing? And I said, yes, I can sing. He said, okay, you sing the Hare Krishna song. I said, okay, I have the sheet music. I started playing, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There were no devotees there. I was there by myself, and we rehearsed every day for 2 weeks. So I learned this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is Krishna's arrangement. You taking notes?
Yes, I was.
Fantastic.
So, yesterday we talked about ambition and how we define ambition. Everyone looks at things quite differently. But actually, I want to go back to, before I get into that, I want to share my own anecdote that I shared with you. And, Rajiv, Rajiv knows that, when I was 10 years old, my dad said to me, because I was going to go to boarding school, and he said, don't worry, God's your best friend, have a conversation with him. So ever since then, I've been having a conversation. I have my own conversation. I was turned into a prayer. I can't really step out without that. Sometimes I miss it, but I make up for it within the 24-hour cycle. That's my own understanding of God. But everyone has their own way of finding their own, spiritual centeredness. And we're all driven by different forces. You talked about the why, redefining ambition. is something that I think about. Like I feel like I want to give away all my wealth for good, but then I have to make a lot of wealth to be able to give it away. So my ambition is, how do I create enough so I can give a little bit to my family and give the rest away, right? Because I'm not going to take it with me. But the first thing is you've got to be able to get to that point. So success, you can only help others if you can help yourself first. But many professionals do struggle with the idea that spirituality might dilute their drive. I don't think so. I think it's a very strong force. But do you feel that ambition and spirituality can coexist? And if I were to look at it from the lens of Gita, how would you redefine ambition for people?
Yeah, this very nice question, how to relate ambition to Bhagavad Gita's teachings. So, ambition means we want to do something. We want to accomplish something. And not only that, we want to achieve a high level of excellence. So, when we're motivated for our own pride, or our own reputation, or our own fame, then it's not as enticing, it's not as empowering, it's not as encouraging as when we're doing it for someone else. Like sometimes we feel like, I don't feel like getting out of bed, going to work, but then we remember our families. I'm doing this for my family, or my community, or my nation, or doing it for Krishna, as Krishna says in Gita, this verse, Yat Karoshi, and our topic is today. Yat Karoshi Rashnasi, Yat Jahosi Dasiyat, Yat Tapasyasi Konteya, Tat Karushva Man Arpaman. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away in charity, whatever austerities you perform, do that as an offering unto me, Krishna says. So I joined the Hare Krishna movement around 35 years ago, and it's always an adventure. Every day is an adventure. You're like jumping out of bed. What is my opportunity to serve Krishna? What is my opportunity to serve humanity? What is my opportunity to make a difference in the lives of others today? So if we do it for Krishna, if we do it for others, to serve others, then ambition is a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. I think ambition is very important. But the concept of Yat Karoshi, it's a beautiful concept. And if we had to put it in the practical sense for a modern professional, whether it's people doing jobs, whether it's people in business, the modern professional is quite consumed by things like KPIs, board meetings, targets, deadlines, P&Ls. How do you actually apply that shift in the mindset, but also make it such that it's practical in achieving the daily tasks as well?
Yeah, so KRAs are key result areas that we want to practically apply this to our lives. So from a practical perspective, many people, they worship the deity at home. Here we have the deity of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra here in this temple, so beautiful. And some worship at home also. So if we understand that our home belongs to Bhagavan, Hamara Gara Bhagavan ke liye, our home is for Krishna. Then when we're earning funds, then we say this is to pay Krishna's rent. And our family members are Krishna's devotees. So we're earning funds, we're buying groceries, paying rent, and sustaining, maintaining, and enhancing and nurturing the devotees of God. And then similarly throughout the society, funds are required to run anything. Srila Prabhupada said funds are like the blood in a body. Without funds, nothing will run. So how will we distribute spiritual knowledge without funds? How we can print Bhagavad Gitas? How we can go from home to home, town to town, village to village, how to go all over the world and spread Sanatan Dharma. Because Sanatan Dharma is a real cause of peace and happiness in the world. Aham bija pradapita, Krishna says in Gita. I am the seed-giving father of every living entity. So how can we stop the hatred and violence in this world? It's by spreading love and kindness in this message of Sanatan Dharma. So we can understand every living entity is our brother and sister because we're all children of God. So money is required for that. So if we work in this consciousness, that let me use my funds for something to benefit the entire society. And that's very, very practical.
And how would you say, if I reverse the process, how would people use that mindset to build a business or do their job with their purpose, but make sure that it's helping them? It's like it's like a cycle of life. It helps them elevate what they can get and what they can give back. Because they say the more you give, the more you get. I'm a big believer in that. How can you allow people to come to that stage where they can get more so they can give more as well?
So Krishna says in 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text number 11, Yeyatam prapadyante tamstataiva pajamnaham. He says, as you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. So it's reciprocal. It's a reciprocal relationship. We serve Krishna, and Krishna takes care of us. Krishna is with the goddess of fortune, right? Lakshmi is there with Narayan. If Narayan is present there, Lakshmi will always be present there.
It's beautiful. So maybe the next thing I'd like to talk about is the ethical dilemmas that we deal with often. You face tough decisions, decisions where profit margins and these core principles might come at odds. Especially if you're running a publicly listed company, there's a lot of pressure. I was actually, it was quite amazing. I started a day-to-day in the Temasek shop house, and Temasek, of course, is the large investment fund here. I was sharing with Raji. Actually, they had the same audio issue as well, so there must be some connection with that. So to put it into perspective, Temasek owns most of the large Singapore companies like DBS Bank, Singapore Airlines, and so on. So
Is that like Satvik, Rajasic, and Tamasic?
Yeah, let's not let that go. But the conversation really was around purpose, and then of course conversations around the responsibilities when you list your company, and it was all around how shareholder value, yes, is an outcome, but that's not what companies are built for, right? Companies are built for a purpose, and so I think it's very timely that we're having this discussion. But at the same time, we know that business pressures are very real, and there are times where people have to make decisions to let go of people. That's a harsh reality in business as well. How does one navigate these conflicts that are at odds with our own belief system and ethics?
Yeah, dealing with ethics is challenging. You have to understand the principles of Dharma. Is it right? Is it legal? Is it ethical? Is it going to help others? And although I may be making a profit now, what is the future that it's going to create for me? What kind of future is this going to create for me? So these are the questions that we have to ask. These are the questions that we have to consider.
And I'm not trying to put you in a spot. Because I think we've all been in, or a lot of us have been in positions where we've had to make difficult decisions where sometimes it's not a great outcome for individuals, but then we justify, at least to ourselves, that we're doing the right thing because it's for the betterment of other people and for the business. Because if the business doesn't survive, then everyone's at risk. Is that a logical way to think about it?
You're asking, does the end justify the means?
I'm asking you for some permission to do some things and feeling okay about it.
I heard an amazing story from a friend of mine very recently. He shared that there was a father, he was living in Chicago. He was one of the top lawyers in Chicago. And this was during the 1920s, 1930s, when the mafia was very, very powerful in Chicago. And this lawyer, he was getting the mafia out of all the court cases and getting them out of trouble and keeping them out of jail. But then he was thinking that, the father had a son. What kind of message am I giving my son? I'm giving my son a mansion, everything money can buy, but I'm giving him a father that's not acting according to values. So he was not okay with that. And he said, I will act according to values. He testified against the mafia, even though he knew that he might be killed by them. And sure enough, after some time he was driving in his car, the mafia came up with machine guns, and they killed him, and he was dead. Now later, there was in the Pacific Ocean, there was a war going on between the Japanese and the United States. And it was a big boat, a huge boat in the Navy. And some fighter planes took off from that boat, and one of the men driving one of the fighter planes, he discovered that they had not given him enough petrol to go and come back. So he started coming back early because he didn't have petrol. On his way back, he saw 8 bombers coming from the Japanese, coming to bomb that big warship, and it would have wiped out the whole warship. So even though it was him, one guy, against 8 bombers, he attacked. He attacked and he shot down 3 of the bombers, and he was out of ammunition. And then he just took his plane and was charging, trying to fly, knock the wings off the other planes. And the other planes were like, this guy is crazy. Let's get out of here. So they flew away. And he landed. And he was given the first Medal of Honor in the war. And that man was the son of the lawyer who demonstrated the importance of values.
Wow.
So values are important.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, in the corporate world, we have values we stay. But I think what you live by is the values you actually have today.
Say that again.
In the corporate world, we put out the values that are written in a corporate presentation. But the reality is the values are the ones that you will actually live by.
Ideally, they should match.
Well, I mean, companies have marketing folks as well, so they can
Okay.
They got to look nice and fancy too.
I'm getting I guess I'm naive. I thought you all followed what you were going to
I have a few questions for you, but I want to make sure that there's people here who will have some very interesting questions that can help us all reflect as well and get your wisdom. So maybe I'll open up. So we'll do it a little different. We're not going to leave audience questions to the end. We want to make sure there's enough opportunity for audience questions, and then I can bring in my questions later as well. So I don't want to be selfish about this. Anyone who would like to ask a question?
There's a hand up.
Ganesh?
Picture.
I want to ask about Duryodhana. So Duryodhana did a lot of sin, but still he went to heaven. Why?
Why did Duryodhana go to heaven? This is hard for me to say. Anyone else here has a Mahabharata can share? Prabhu can share.
Maharaj, as per the Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah.
Bhagavan says that when someone dies,
in a battlefield, when he's doing his own Kshatriya dharma, irrespective of whether he is on the side of dharma or adharma, he is dying, doing his dharma, and he will get to heaven. And that's how Duryodhana also got to heaven.
So he was doing his duty as a Kshatriya.
Correct.
He died on the battlefield and he went to heaven. Thank you so much. Does that answer your question, Prabhu? Here's another question. Wait, maybe we should move it around.
So I have follow-up question, like I can do sin, I can do whatever wrong, and then I can go to the nice place, to the sacred one, I can lie go to the...
No, you have to go to Kurukshetra. You have to do your dharma as a Kshatriya.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
My question is, how you will define the satisfaction? The thing is, everybody is doing something in their life, and as he rightly pointed, the difference between the ambition and spirituality. The difference between the ambition and the spirituality. So I always feel like whatever I am doing in the life, personally or professionally, I always feel that I am not satisfied with wherever I am today. So how you will define the satisfaction, and what shall be my takeaway to progress further in life?
Let me hold on to the mic. Hold on to the mic. Betty. Let me see if I understand your question properly. You're asking, how do you know if you're satisfied?
Yes.
Okay. So, if you're eating a meal, you don't have to ask someone else, do I need to eat more, or have I eaten enough? If you're satisfied, you'll know that you're satisfied.
But if some food is very tasty, my stomach is full, but my heart is not full, so that will not justify my internal satisfaction. Yes, my stomach satisfaction. So this is also another angle.
That's here. So if I understand your follow-up question, you're saying, what if I still desire to eat more?
Exactly.
If you desire to eat more, you're not satisfied. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Say again?
Yeah, means I'm not satisfied.
You're not satisfied with my question, with my answer? You're not satisfied with it?
No, I'm not satisfied. Means whatever the scenario I have asked, it means that I'm not internally satisfied. That answers the
Yeah, if you're not satisfied, you're not satisfied. There's something more that you need to satisfy you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I always find intermittent fasting helps as well. So maybe you take a little bit of a break from grief too.
Let me also just continue answering a little bit. This beautiful verse from Bhagavatam 1.2.6. Savaipam samparo dharmo yato bhaktir oxygen ahoituki apatiyata yayatma suprasidati. Savaipam samparo dharmo, the topmost dharma for every living entity, yato bhaktir oxygen, is to render service to the Supreme Absolute Truth. There are two parameters, ahoituki apatiyata, unmotivated service, uninterrupted service. As a result, yayatma suprasidati. Prasidati means happy and satisfied. Su means very much, very satisfied. Superman, right? Super satisfied. So then you'll know, oh, I'm feeling super satisfied. Once I was walking on Padiyatra. I walked through Holland, Belgium, France, and Spain. I walk. And all day long we were chanting, distributing Bhagavad Gitas, and distributing prasadam. And I was feeling so happy and so satisfied, like I'd never experienced before in my life. I was thinking I could do this the rest of my life with these people and be fully happy. You know, usually we feel the grass is always greener on the other side of the street. We're always looking for something better. But at that time, I was feeling real satisfaction, at least a shadow of that satisfaction I was experiencing. So yes, when we're satisfied, we'll feel it, we'll know it, we'll taste it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, very much.
Okay, yeah, very much. Okay. Students who come. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My name is Charles Chow. I've got 3 questions.
Yes, Charles. Can you ask them one at a time?
Yes. The first one is on AI. How can AI help in our spirituality? First question.
Thank you very much. Let me try to reply to that. And why are we getting so much noise from the sound system? Huh? Maybe turn off the mics that are not recording? Okay, let me try to answer your question. Did you finish asking question 1?
Question 1 is AI.
About AI.
How can AI help in our spirituality?
How can AI help our spirituality? First of all, is a knife good or bad? Whose knife? Cutting. Is a knife good or bad? Who says knife is good? Who says knife is bad? Who doesn't know? It's a double-edged sword, he's saying. So it depends how it is used. A knife in the hands of a surgeon can save a life. A knife in the hands of a criminal can kill. So AI is like that. AI, if it's used in the wrong way, it can be detrimental. But if it's used in a positive way, it can be very, very helpful. I also use AI to help me in my spiritual life. I ask AI, help me prepare an outline for a class on such and such a topic. And boom, it gives me the outline. And then I use it for image generation. Some of the images that I showed you this evening, they were AI generated also. So I use it in communication. I use it in my communication activities. I use it for my scheduling. I use it for organizing my flights, for my communications, many, many things that assist me in my service to Krishna. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but we'll take it. We have more time to discuss that.
Okay.
My second question is, Nishkarmakama, how can we package this for the younger generation, especially young entrepreneurs? How can they, perhaps you can advise us how to have this aspect, especially...
Yeah, very good question. So Niskam Karma Yoga, especially packaging for new generation, is an excellent question. So Niskam Karma Yoga means we're doing activities for Krishna, Yat Karoshi Nashnasi, without any personal motivation, as we were just discussing. That's one of the parameters of pure devotional service, uninterrupted and unmotivated. So how can we make that attractive for the youth? Well, one thing, Yad Yadar Charati Shrestas, setting a good example ourselves. If we can be role models, if we can model someone who's performing Nishkam Karma Yoga and is happy about it, feeling satisfied, the best outreach, the best kind of sales is that a happy salesman, someone who's happy with the product. If you have a happy customer, he'll tell 10 people that this is a great product. So we want to model it ourselves, that we're doing this Nishkam Karma Yoga, it's working for us, and we want satisfied customers who are also practicing this, who are also satisfied, and then the word will get around. Does that answer your question?
Excellent. Now my last question is, someone spoke about satisfaction, and we talk about holiness, there's about sanctification of work. How do we calibrate that? How do we know that we'll move from one level of holiness to the next level? Thank you.
So how do we know when we're advancing in devotional service? How do we know we're advancing in bhakti? When we're getting a taste, we're getting attraction to the spiritual path, and our desire for material objects just for the sake of owning them, it becomes less. We gain more spiritual attraction, and our attraction to the mundane things of this world, we're just acquiring more and more things, that becomes reduced. When I was growing up in the 1970s, 1980s, there was something called a bumper sticker on the cars. Do we still have them? I don't know. But there was a famous bumper sticker in America. It said, "He who dies with the most toys wins." Right? That was the philosophy. Who can acquire the most things, he who dies with the most toys wins. And we also have the tendency, let me get a new phone, let me get a new car, let me get a new house, let me get a new this, a new that. And we may not need them, they may not be helpful, but we just want newer and newer and newer gadgets and things. That tendency is there. So we become satisfied without all of these things, and we get attraction to spiritual activities like meditation, prayer. Amit Ji was sharing that his father recommended to him that give some time to God every day. And now he has a half-hour a day meditation practice where he's offering his prayers and his discussion with God every day. And that's giving him his grounding. That's giving him his motivation. That's giving him his satisfaction. That's giving him his strength, his platform from which to work and serve society and God. So like this, when our attraction is more to the spiritual activities and less to just acquiring material possessions, then that is one indicator that we're progressing in spiritual life. I'll share one more indicator with you, second indicator, that when people are glorifying and praising others in our presence, sometimes we're envious of them. Why he's glorifying him? Why he's glorifying her? I am also here in the room. Shouldn't people be speaking how important I am? So to the degree that we appreciate when others are doing well, advancing, and others are being appreciated, to that degree, we see we're advancing because our tendency of envy is reducing. Does that answer your question? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Any other questions? I know those were very, very good questions. Anyone else? Oh, there's one of them.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, this question is about the mental health, or how do devotees, especially in ashram like brahmachari ashram or sannyas ashram, how do they tackle sense of loneliness? Because even in grihastha ashram or a householder life, many people face this mental health issues. But so I'd like to hear your perspective on it.
Well, I think loneliness is not universal, because someone who's come to an advanced level of devotional service, they feel Krishna is always with them, the Guru is always with them, Vaishnavas are always with them. Like Srila Prabhupada, he said that when he came back from the West after going to America, he came to Mayapur in West Bengal, close to where his Guru's samadhi, where his Guru's burial place is there. And he did not visit that burial place. So some of his god brothers criticized why you did not go to see Guru Maharaj. And Srila Prabhupada said, because I feel that Guru Maharaj is always with me. Similarly, when went to the West in 1965. He celebrated Holi, Gaur Purnima, a very important day, Janmashtami. He celebrated alone. There were no devotees there. Devotees asked Prabhupada, didn't you feel lonely? Prabhupada said, no, my Guru Maharaj is always with me. So an advanced Vaishnava, an advanced Vaishnavi, always feels a connection with Krishna, with the spiritual master, and with Vaishnavas. So it's too much of a generalization to say that everyone is dealing with psychological issues. In a hospital, there are some sick people, lots of sick people, but there are also a few doctors that are not sick. And in ISKCON, many of our renunciants, I don't know if I should use the word many, but some of our renunciants, they're very advanced, and they're beyond the platform of feeling lonely. Not everyone is feeling lonely. And further, yes, some face psychological issues, and for those that do face them, I recommend devotee psychologists. Does that answer your question? Thank you so much. Of course, by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very, very helpful to overcome these issues. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Or kuch chahiye?
So maybe we have time for a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Krishna. I just have one question, right? So we are talking about the values, and you have imbibed so much values from your family. So in this world, in the companies, you have so many working relationship and running the company as well as entrepreneur. How do you propagate these values among your staff, among the people around you, among the customer partners that you are working with? If you can share some insights on that.
I was here just to ask questions, not answer, but it's a great question. I think, I'll try and answer that in a very simple way. I actually did a session last week for the Stockholm Institute MBA students. I interact with them every year when they come to Singapore. And there was a conversation around values, and I gave some examples. I think there's two things. I think one is you've got to lead by example of the values, right? So, and sometimes it's just about reinforcing some of those, and you've got to verbalize it so people see what you actually mean by those values. I think the other thing is, some values are really about defining what is not acceptable. And that's the easier one to do, because I think you've got to put your foot down and make it very clear that everything else is fine, but this is non-negotiable and not acceptable. And whatever the circumstances, it doesn't matter if it actually means that you will upset clients or you will upset your staff and your teams. And I think the reality is, when people understand what you stand for, I think people cut you some slack and they understand that you won't stand for this, and then they start to live by that. That's the very simplified response. I still haven't evolved to the level. I might discuss with Swamiji later and come back with a more articulate answer.
Bahut sundar.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. I think values is a very, very core part of how we live our lives, both at home, with our families, and professionally. Right? And I don't think those values change, by the way. Whether you're doing it with your family or you're in your professional life, you can't fake values. So I think that's my belief. I have a couple of more questions for you. Charles talked about AI. I want to unpack that a little bit. We know that, the pace of change we're seeing today is just so fast. And this, we're not going to have to wait for the next generation for AI to be absolutely pervasive in our lives. We're going to see that happen in the next 4 to 5 years, if it's not already happening. At the moment it's happening it's taking shape with people and companies and businesses that are more fluent and advanced with AI. But give it another 4-5 years, I think everyone will. My question to you is, with respect to all the spiritual learnings and guidance that we get from the Gita, what principles do you think can be applied, or should there be some involvement of the scriptures to help shape what ethical and responsible AI should be going forward? To help, maybe we can't control how AI will shape, but we can control how humans evolve themselves around AI.
Yes, we're seeking for a spiritual evolution. There's a verse that Gupta Swami, he spoke, Anasaktasya Vishaya Yataraham Upayunjitaha Nirbande Krishna Sambande Yuktam Vairagyamuchate. Anasaktasya Vishaya. We should not be attached to using things and not using things. Yataraham Upayunjitaha, how we use them. Anasaktasya, unattached. We should be detached. But Krishna Sambande, we should see the relationship to Krishna. So how does AI relate to Krishna? How does AI relate to the Supreme? And this is called Yuktam Vairagya. It's Vairagya, we're not attached, but we utilize it, Yuktam. So we utilize everything in the service of Krishna, everything in the service of mankind. So we don't reject anything except for like intoxication, gambling, illicit sex, meat eating, those things we reject. Everything else can be used in Krishna's service. We just have to see the utility. Srila Prabhupada said, utility is the principle. How it can be utilized to put the message of Krishna consciousness onto everyone's cell phone and in everyone's heart.
Oh, beautiful. I think you might have given me a business idea. And we'll apply that to the service of Krishna.
As long as you make Krishna your partner.
Yes. Well, I think one of the things, and I must state this, about the Atha Forum, and that I've imbibed over the years. And again, I think as entrepreneurs, if we can find ways to give back, sometimes in cash, sometimes in kind, in the form of equity, and that we can pass on to a good cause. And of course, it's also important to surround yourself with great people that are like-minded. And Rajiv is one such person, and I think propagating those values. And I'm hoping that yes, if we can create something. You actually got me thinking, really, with AI and Gita and all the teachings, there was a way people could interact. And rather than have mental health apps, maybe there are apps that can actually make it easier for people to imbibe the values of Gita. By the way, I've already patented this. This video has already been watched by my lawyer. He's putting it for the trademark. No, but really, I think there's a lot that can benefit humanity. And I think we need that centeredness. And with that, I want to ask just one question and one last takeaway from you. One is the power of Kirtan, and I can see how powerful your ways of teaching and chanting are. And you meet a lot of business leaders, every day, and you meet people who are really, they're struggling, they've got back-to-back meetings. That's a very common corporate term. I really have a very strong disdain for that term, back-to-back meetings, but unfortunately that is the reality.
Front to front.
I mean, that would be face-to-face meetings, hopefully more productive than back-to-back meetings. But how do you encourage people to weave in that daily spiritual practice, incorporate elements like mindfulness, chanting into their schedule? How do they find a time for that?
Yeah, even in the morning, just 5 minutes, just grounding, and then there can be a meditation on gratitude, being very grateful for the opportunities that come with us today. And ultimately, we can start our day with this question. We can ask ourselves, what can I do today to make today an offering?
Thank you. And just in terms of one practical takeaway, I think if you've got a room full of business leaders, professionals here, if you were to give one simple practical step, every one of us can apply tomorrow morning in our work lives, in our personal lives, what would that be?
You know, like this, like I said, plan, see what we can do to make today an offering. Make that a conscious meditation. And one practical tip that can also help, I'll teach you a 3-word mantra. Many of you know this mantra. Are you ready to learn this mantra? Yes. And this mantra means whatever I'm going to do after I chant this mantra, this is an offering. Okay? Ready for the mantra? Om Tat Sat. That's the mantra. Okay? Om Tat Sat. And then whatever we do after chanting Om Tat Sat, our intention is that this should be done as an offering. And at the end of the day, we can also chant the same mantra. Om Tat Sat. Please accept this offering that I've given today. Thank you very much.